Hi everybody, Russ from My Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well if you're new to the channel. Please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware of any time I put new content on. As always, let's thank our lovely channel sponsors, Untuckit. Check them out in the description below. Today's guest, you can see who it is. We've got another ex-Hammer, but also an important ex-Hammer because, you know, not only is he a player and played for West Ham, but he's a Boyd fan as well. It's Mr. Rob Lee. How are we, Rob?
I'm very well, thanks. Very well. Getting fed up with this lockdown, but apart from that, can't complain.
Can't complain. There's plenty of football on, though, isn't there? There's plenty of football on, I suppose.
Yeah, there's loads of football. It's not the same now without the fans.
No.
You know, I think maybe it's made. I hope it's made clubs realise that to appreciate the fans a little bit more, because you know maybe I think fans were getting a little bit, or clubs were getting a little bit. You know, fans don't really matter. We can treat them how we like. Yeah. But I think everybody has seen now that football's not the same without fans. Nowhere near, and you need them. And I'm hoping once we come out of this pandemic fully, and clubs will appreciate their fans a little bit more.
Totally. And I mean, you know, for West Ham, there's always been that big debate this season. Obviously, we just started. You know, it's always good when West Ham win. Everyone's happy, and we're winning a lot at the moment. And there was people saying, you know, maybe having no fans in the stadium helped West Ham at the beginning of the season. I think it actually did, to be honest, because we didn't play very well that first couple of games, and we've sort of grown into this team, which is now, you know, fifth in the league at the time of recording.
Unbelievable. Yeah, listen, I think the no fans can work both ways. You know, it's the same. West Ham, I always compare West Ham to the Newcastle fans. They're very, very similar, very passionate. And it can work both ways because, you know, some players don't like playing. You know, if things are going badly for you, the fans can get on your back on both clubs, not just West Ham. And it's how you react to that. But also, if you're doing well, they can get behind you. So I don't know whether that's had an effect on maybe there's no pressure on the West Ham players. You'll have to ask them. I'm sure they'll all say they prefer playing with fans, but
of course,
in the reality, maybe if they didn't start well and the West Ham fans didn't start having a shout at them, because they can give you a good old rollicking over there. Because I've had a few myself when I played for Newcastle, so so yeah, I know what it's like. So maybe it has worked for certain clubs, but I still believe, you know, it's a shame really because West Ham have played well this year. David Moyes has done really, really well. Bought some really good players, and it's a shame people can't see them live, you know.
It's typical, isn't it? It's typical West Ham. It's typical West Ham, Rob, isn't it? And that's the thing. But the good thing is, hopefully, we get 10,000 in. If Boris's roadmap works well, as intended to, we should have 10,000 in for the Southampton game, the last game of the season. So, could be our champ.
Which would be great. We've got to start bringing them back in soon. I mean, so if we can do that, and the Euros goes well. And it's all goes expected playing with Boris is track out of all this, then hopefully by next season we'll see full stadiums again, which is what we all want, really.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting to a point now. I mean, obviously I'm still at the stadiums for the match days playing the music, so it started off weird and then it became sort of normality, and now I'm just sitting there and it's just like you're twiddling your thumbs a little bit now, and it's like you just want. We had 2,500 I think for the Man United game. And they made a massive amount of racket, you know. So it was just like some feedback.
I can't, even when it's on telly, I can't watch it unless I've got the crowd noises.
Yeah.
I know the crowd noises are sometimes 4 or 5 seconds behind, but I still have to have some noise. I mean, I hated playing with no fans. You know, when I certainly when I was at Newcastle, we'd have pre-season games. I hated them. I mean, I relished the fans being there, and I'm sure most players do.
Definitely.
There'll be a few exceptions to the rule, as I said, who prefer not having a bit of stick on them. But no, it'd be great when they get back.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. It was so quiet that yesterday I went to the toilet, and as I walked down, I could hear Martin Tyler the other side going, "And it's live," and I could actually. Like, I thought it was brilliant. It's like it was really loud, but yeah, it was really funny. But so obviously, for many fans watching today, you know, Rob was a Plaistow boy, always, and a West Ham fan. Do you remember going to Upton Park when you was a young'un, Rob?
Yeah, I remember. Well, not when I was really. I mean, my granddad was a huge West Ham fan, but he died when I was very young, you know, 4 or 5.
Yeah,
I remember he used to take me down there, but it wasn't until I was probably, I don't know, maybe 12 to 15 that I went down with my mates, that they still go. So it's they're avid fans, and I sort of like stopped after a while because I was obviously playing myself. So, but yeah, I've always, born in Plaistow, I've always been a West Ham boy, and never leaves you, does it? So
no.
It's good that I actually I got to play for him, which it took longer than I expected.
Yeah, fair enough. So it's 38, wasn't it? 38, but I mean, in terms of you was born in 66 as well. So, you were alive for the World Cup, weren't you? I mean, you were about 3 months old at the time, but it was all good. And as I said, as you're 38, you signed for the club, went on to play that's 2003-04 season. As we were saying just before we started recording, it was an eventful season. That was an eventful 19 games you played for the club, wasn't it? To be fair,
it was. I mean, I thought I was going to West Ham when I went to Newcastle. That was the I was at Charlton, and obviously we owed, because we was playing at Upton Park. I think Charlton owed West Ham rent. Billy Bonds was the manager at the time, and I think Stuart Slater had just gone a little while before the Celtic. So I was seen as sort of like an ideal replacement, but for whatever reason, it never materialised. And I certainly don't regret going to Newcastle. It was the best thing I did. But at that time, I think it was quite clear that I'd made quite clear to Curbs, who was my manager at the time, that I wanted to go to West Ham. So it was a shame I didn't go then, but as I say, I don't regret a thing. For my career, I had 10 years at a fantastic club, so I don't regret it. And it wasn't until I left Newcastle, went to Derby for a couple of years, and then was back. My family were all back down south. We were all back in Hornchurch again, and took my lad Elliot to school in Brentwood. Who Elliot went on to play for a few games for West Ham.
He did.
And his best mate was Joe Roeder, and I knew Glenn a little bit because obviously we're from the same area. We've clashed a few times in games, and although he was a bit older than me, so I sort of knew Glenn, and he said, "Come over to West Ham, and we've got a young team. We've just been relegated. We've got some really good players. We're going to lose a few, so come over and train and see how you feel." And I know I did, and trained. Loved it. I hadn't been to Chadwell Heath training since I was 13, I think it was. So
wow.
Nothing had changed, just a few more portal cabins. And train felt really good, and Glenn got me to sign a 1-year contract, which was, it doesn't sound much at the age of 38, but it was my boyhood dream to play for my hometown club, and regardless of my age and regardless of how many games I played, I did it. So
yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's off the bucket list. I mean, as we said before we started, it's like, although you said it was night, it wasn't a lot of games for millions of fans just once, isn't it? And so, I mean, particularly you, obviously, it must be being in your boyhood club and then walking out at Upton Park in the claret and blue, not in the stripy one, not in the black and white one, but in the claret and blue, walking out to Bubbles. It must have been like, it was a boyhood dream, isn't it, really, when you were young watching them. Now you're finally getting there. A little bit way around, by Newcastle and Derby. But
because obviously I played at Upton Park. I've been in the hometown rooms because Charlton were lodging there. So
of course,
home ground wrestling every other week for Charlton. I loved playing there, and probably played, Charlton fans will tell you, I probably played the best football at Upton Park. But actually, when you to be at the age I was, and to be able to play for your hometown club in the claret and blue, was something I'd always wanted to do. As I said, I didn't think I'd leave it quite so late, but it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. Exactly. I'm 39, so I'm out of it now. No chance now. No chance. I could offer something in the final third, Moyes, definitely. Very different. And in terms of, obviously, those 19 games themselves, obviously we just gone down. There was a lot of, as I said, lots of people leaving and stuff like that. As coming in, it must. I'm trying to think of the right words, but obviously, it must be a turbulent time to go in, because there was people leaving. It was just being relegated and stuff like that. I know it's your boy club, but still.
I'm being honest, when I first went in, I mean, I looked around at the players, and I thought, wow, how the hell have West Ham gone down?
Yeah.
With these players. I remember going to Bournemouth. We went to Bournemouth and played in a pre-season friendly, and we had Joe Cole, Michael Carrick, Don Hutchinson, Steve Lomas, Canuti, David James in goal, and we beat Bournemouth. I think it was 6-0 in a pre-season, and I thought, we're absolutely going to murder this league. We're going to murder them. And by the time the season started, we'd lost Glenn Johnson, Trevor Sinclair, Joe Cole. I think Mark Carrick was injured. Canuti didn't go far. He wasn't far when he left. So we lost half of our team by the time Glenn, the first game came. I think Preston away, I made my debut. We'd lost half the team. I think Coley went the day before or 2 days before.
Something like that.
As Glenn Johnson went week before maybe. So it's it was very turbulent. I felt a little bit sorry for Glenn really. He had his brain stuff going on, and they'd give him the reins to go again, and he'd lost, half his team. Which was a huge shame. We went to Preston and we beat Preston. Yeah, we were doing okay. We were still we still had some very good players. Michael was still there. We was injured, but Jermaine Defoe we managed to keep hold of. As I said, Don, Christian Daly, David James we kept in goal. So we still had a very, very good team.
Definitely. And obviously, unfortunately, obviously Glenn passed last week, but Glenn, over those 19 games, you played under 3 managers in essence. That's some feat, isn't it? Really, thinking about it, obviously.
Not bad in 19 games. I could get rid of a manager, me.
The cleaner, they called you.
I felt very strongly when Glenn got sacked because I think I said in the press at the time, if West Ham were going to get rid of him, the hierarchy then do it in the summer. Don't do it after. I think it was 3 games, 3 games or so. So just actually getting the momentum 3 or 4 games, and then obviously then the legend Trevor Brooking took over. And I got on great with Trevor. I got on fantastic with him, and I was desperate for him to take over. I thought he would have done an unbelievable job. Yeah. Unfortunately for me, Alan Pardew came in, and I didn't laugh after that. No. What? I mean, not being nasty. What was it, Matt, with you and Pards? You just didn't see eye to eye. You had a different vision. No, I don't know. I don't think we played together at Charlton, and we wasn't particularly great friends there. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't. I think maybe I was certainly one of the senior players at the club. Myself, Steve Lomas, and I think he wanted to bring young legs in, which is fine. But it's I didn't get an opportunity to play where I wanted to play. No. I was 38 and I was playing right wing, which was I had to go and see Pard. I said, look, you might as well play someone with legs there, or someone who can run. I'm 38. And he did. Got myself out of the team. So.
Well done, Rob. And that's the thing. I mean, we've had JMO on and stuff, and he said the same thing. Pards came in, and I think JMO left in January the season, and it was the same reason. It's like Pards was clearly had a different vision, and he wasn't part of it. To put it in between, so to speak. But it's one of those things, and as you said, it was just there was a lot going on that season. It seemed a lot going on behind the scenes, and obviously 3 managers, and obviously we didn't go up, got to the fight. I mean, as you said, we should have walked that league in our opinion.
If they had managed to keep a few of the players and kept, of course, kept the same manager, I still think Glenn would have done worth to give him an opportunity. It was as though we were playing badly at the time or losing. We'd lost 1 game, I think. So I just think they decided they wanted to change. And even if Trevor would have took it, I thought Trevor was very, very good. Perhaps not coaching wise, but as a manager, as a man manager, he had the total respect to all the players. Obviously,
of course,
knew what he was doing, spoke very well. Let others get on with the training, but again, it wasn't what the path Trevor wanted to take.
No, No, he's still actually statistically our most successful first team manager, because he won so many games the beforehand as well. When he took over.
Yeah, I genuinely, I think he could have. I think he would have been. I think he would have been an exceptional manager. Some people say the club legends don't always do well, and maybe he thought that if he doesn't do well, then the fans will turn on him. But
of course,
fans wouldn't turn on him. He's Trevor Brooking.
Yeah, it's so true. He's so true. He's like, exactly.
He needs to go if his results were terrible, but I don't think they would have been, and I think he'd still kept his legend status if he'd have managed the club. But management's a thing that you've really got to want to do, and obviously he didn't want to do that.
No, he didn't. That's fair enough. And as you said, it was just one of those. It's just one of those interesting seasons that just are in the fabric of West Ham. We always have there's always something going. I always see it as a bit like a soap opera, West Ham as a club, and there's always something going on. And like here we're riding high at the moment, and it's the first time we've done it since we've come back since we've moved, really, first season. So it's long may it continue. Now everyone's already moaning about next season. Oh, if we get into Europe, our squad's not. Oh, who cares?
Exactly. Enjoy White going on. Enjoy White.
Exactly, Rob. Exactly. You enjoyed your time there, and obviously, as a dad, seeing Elliot getting through and playing, and Ollie getting involved in the team at West Ham as well. West Ham's your club. Must have been nice seeing the boys in the system at West Ham.
No, it was brilliant. It was great. I mean, both under Tony Carr. Ollie was first, and then Elliot came a bit later. Like all dads, I suppose I'm probably a little bit biased. I'd like to have seen the youngsters at the time. I don't think got a chance. Not just talking about my lads. I think John Moncur's lad, George, and Stevie Potts' lad. I don't think they really got a chance of showing what they could do. Really, we seem to at that time bring a lot of other maybe older players and foreign players in, which were, in my opinion, no better than what the youngsters coming through were.
Yeah, and as a fan, not only obviously a dad but a fan, you'd like to see the boys progressing through the academy and getting into the team like Declan and people like that. So, I think that's what I like about boys.
You have to give them an opportunity. That's the thing,
Like
Declan,
definitely.
My lad Elliot remembers Declan coming through as a few years younger than him, and he said, "God, Daddy, loves him, done brilliant." But he said at the time he wasn't. He said he didn't look like a player he is today, and that's the thing. Sometimes they need a little bit of time. Sometimes they need to get confidence. But could somebody have seen Declan at that age and said, "Yeah, he's going to be a world beater," because that's what he is at the minute. No.
Oh, he is. Yeah. No.
He's the best. Best I've seen in that position for such a young age of the way he sits in. It's I did it. I started doing it when I was I went from an attacking midfielder to a sitting in midfielder when I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
And he's doing it. You don't get many youngsters do it that young.
No.
They don't like that sort of part of the game. They're brought up with this tippy tappy football and pass and tricks, and he just seems to enjoy running around, breaking things up. But he can also get forward. He can also score a goal every now and again. He's technically very good. So he looks. I just hope West Ham can keep hold of him.
Yeah, and I think because he's come through from a defender, because he was a centre back originally, that there's that natural progression moving forward rather than being an attacker moving back. So I can see, why it's an unusual path to take. But
he's comfortable on the ball. He probably could play.
Yeah,
he could play central defence. He's one of those players that I think you can play him anywhere, really, on the pitch. Play him anywhere, and he'd do well for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? His versatility. He's great at sitting in. Probably one of the best. Certainly the Premier League at this moment in time.
Definitely.
But I think you could play him in other positions and he'd do well for you.
Yeah, definitely. No, I totally agree. And it'd be interesting to see what happens in the summer, because obviously we play the Czech Republic in the first game. So it's Souček versus Declan Rice.
Souček's been outstanding. He seems to have come from nowhere and unknown. Didn't cost a lot of money. I watch him sometimes. I think, what's he do? And all of a sudden he pops up and scores.
Yeah,
that's an unbelievable knack. And I think I've always said we lack players, midfield players that want to get in the box, want to break their necks, get in the box and score goals. We've got in this playing football. They want to play in front of everyone, and so it's very unusual you get someone who wants to run in the box and get on the end of things. And as I say, you don't see him for sometimes 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And all of a sudden, even though I don't watch the games, who score? Oh, Souček. Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah.
He's done marvellous. It's a great signing. Very, very good.
Yeah, he is. They did something yesterday with him versus Rice and their statistics, and Souček's got something ridiculous, like he's won 150 aerial battles this season, which is more than any midfielder in the Premier League for the last 10 years, apparently, or something ridiculous. And you can see that because he's literally
West Ham got to get down on the ground, then, aren't they?
Yeah, that'll be us. Yeah, typical West Ham. Okay, well that's the case. We'll put it on the floor. We play on the ground. West Ham.
In the air, that's what they're going to say.
It's brilliant. It's lovely to see. It's nice with everything that's going on in the world, Robbie. In terms of everything that, as you said, all lockdown and stuff. It's the one thing I don't have to worry about West Ham. It's nice. I think I've been doing the DJ at West Ham at the stadiums for 20 seasons now, and I can honestly say this is probably the most enjoyable season I think I've ever done at West Ham, just because it's.
Listen, West Ham's it's always something going on at West Ham. I said my two main clubs, Newcastle, West Ham.
Oh God, you've picked two, haven't you?
There's always something going on with the owners. There's always something going on with the players. Always something going on with results, relegation, and always something going on with West Ham. It just seems at the moment there's a little bit of calm at West Ham.
Yes.
There's no takeover bids that I know of going on. There's no moans about the ground.
Yeah.
It just seems the team have managed to just play. It seems to have got a system. I mean, Jesse Lingard, I think, has been a revelation.
Brilliant, yeah.
Great to get him in, and David Moyes has done brilliant. But I thought David Moyes done well when he was last in charge. I was amazed that he wasn't given the job, because his remit then would have been to keep the club up, which he did. And then all of a sudden, the hierarchy decide that he's not the man for the job, and now they find themselves having to eat humble pie and go back and get him, and now he's proven what a good manager he is.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right, and I think this is his sort of redemption. Do you know what I mean? He got screwed over a little bit, Man United. I think anyone who was going to go after Sir Alex was always going to be a tough job. Sunderland was a bit of a poison chalice, and everyone forgets he was 10 years at Everton. Did a good job at Everton.
No, he did. But you got to give managers time.
Yeah,
you have to give them time. You have to trust them in what they do, and I think the West Ham, David Sullivan, David Go actually trust him now in what players he brings in, and I think they're allowing him a bit of a free reign of actually bringing the players that he wants to bring in, rather than maybe what somebody else at the club wants to bring in, which I think we've been guilty of over the years, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a manager role rather than a coach role.
Yes,
it, really.
I don't like the coach thing, because I always say, how can you blame the coach if he don't bring the players in? So if you bring him back, if I'm the coach, you're the director of football, and you bring me bad players, and I get sacked.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
I know.
You brought with the bad players in. What do you expect me to do? I think you have to go. My personal opinion, if you have a manager, you have to trust him and that he bring the right players in. And if he doesn't get it right, then you sack him. You can't sack somebody for not bringing the players in that I can't get the best out of. It's ludicrous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Now, talking of managers and making bad playing decisions and things like that, My Hammer's 11. So this is the whole point. He's got a T-shirt. My Hammer's 11. So the idea is you pick an 11 from the players you played with at your time. So those glorious 19 games in 2003-04, under three managers. You pick an 11. So we try and do 4-4-2, and it's just a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun. I mean, JMO, after, it was funny because JMO did his one, and then the next day he was doing something at West Ham, and he completely forgot he didn't pick Paolo Di Canio in his 11.
I'm all right. So I've only got one season, so
you've only got 19 games, so you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Notice, Christ was scabbing no to Mark Noble when I get Mark Noble in about 10 years' time. Christ knows. 211 players he's played with at his time at West Ham.
Oh my!
I've done the maths.
That's tough. That's tough. I have that problem when I have to do my Newcastle 11.
Yeah, yes, I mean Newcastle
it's much
one.
tougher than it is playing 19 games. So I'm
good.
I'm quite at ease about it all.
The forefront of your football career, knowing that, in about, 17 years later, 18 years later, you're going to be interviewed by a bloke in Ormchurch and asked. So it's all part of the plan. I like it. Long-term thinking, Rob. It's very good. Right. Okay. Who's going to go in goal for you then?
There's only one really. David James was the goalie. He was as England goalie. I think he should have James should have been better than he was.
Yes,
and then he was very good. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't for the stature he had, the agility he had. I think if he'd been slightly better with his feet, he'd have been a world beater, absolute world beater. He's he's as good as his physique, and his shot stopping was he made some incredible saves that no one else could make.
Yeah,
but then he'd make some stupid mistakes that no one else would make.
It's true.
But
it's true, and that's
he was as good as goal as I played with, probably not just at West Ham. He's as good as I played with.
I mean, he's admitted himself. He's just what he says. He's a very honest person in terms of when he talks about his football career. But Jamo. I think it had to be Jamo, really, to be honest. No disrespect to Stephen. We've had Stephen on and various others, but but David James. Right, we'll put Jamo in goal. Left back. Who's going to be left back then, Rob?
Well, this will probably surprise a few people because I didn't play. I played with Rufus Brevett and a few others at left back. I think Kevin Orlock played left back. But
yes,
I was asked when I was at Newcastle, from when Trevor was there, about Wayne Quinn, who was at Newcastle when he left back, and I said, "Go and get him." I said, "Go and get him immediately." I don't think the West Ham fans saw the best of him because I think he was injured a fair bit. But for me, as a football player, he was very, very good. Great left foot, could get up and down. It might surprise a few. But I didn't play. As I said, I only played one season, but I knew how good he was before I recommended him. So I knew how good he was. I think he had a few injury problems and stuff. But when he played, he's technically as good as anybody, really.
Yeah. I suppose because you recommended him, you got to really put him in.
I have to.
It's like Amazon recommendations, Rob Lee picked this person, he had to pick these as well. I
didn't pick him. I backed up a recommendation that Trevor had, I think. So.
Okay.
But I would have picked him if I could do it.
Right, let's put Wade in. Let's go right back then. Who should we have on right back then, Rob?
Right back. I'm going to put Christian Daly at right back. It was between him and Repka, really, Thomas. But I think Chris was probably the fittest man I ever knew.
Really?
I think he still lives around local. He's still as fit as anything. Always getting head injuries and nose injuries, and I think he had his teeth knocked out as well when I was there. Always putting his head where probably he shouldn't have done.
Brilliant.
And never played badly. Do you know what I mean? He sort of always gave 100%. I think that's probably why the West Ham fans loved him. He was captain at the time as well. So and he could run all day.
Yeah.
So he would be. I'd put him at right back.
And that season with Christian Daly, I remember this vision after the famous Ipswich game in the semi-finals. We gave him the mic and he did this sort of Braveheart-esque address to the fans. They can't take our freedom type thing. We're all kind of, we're going to win. And he's like, no, we're not. That about Christian. Everyone's like, yeah, brilliant.
A very proud Scotsman he is as well.
He is top man. Still got lovely hair as well. Right. Centre half. First centre half then Rob.
Anton Ferdinand. He was only
Nice.
a youngster coming through. Again, it's one of those players that I thought would go and do a lot better than he did. I know he had a big transfer to Sunderland, but for me, Anton didn't fulfill his potential. He was only a youngster coming, but he had the attributes. Maybe he was always in the shadow of his brother.
Yeah.
Everyone saying you're not as good as your brother.
Mm.
Maybe I think he had a little bit of that, but he was quick. He was strong. He could play, but he just seemed to. I don't know if he just seemed to be not as intelligent as his brother, not made the wrong decisions at the wrong times, and I just thought at the time when I saw him coming through, I thought, you got a chance of being very, very good. For whatever reason, as I said, he got £10 million move to Sunderland or something, but he should have been better than he was.
And when you're training as a seasoned professional, Robin, and these younguns turn up from the youth team and stuff, can you see this guy's gonna be all right? This guy's gonna be he's not bad. He's quite good. This guy, or
Yeah, I think if you know football, and I think
yeah,
if you've got youngsters training with you, you can tell. I mean, Mark Noble was coming through
yeah,
as a schoolboy as well. He trained with us a couple of times. I think you know if they can cope with it, and they can cope with the banter as much as anything.
yes,
And the senior players give them a little kick. Senior players taking the mickey out of them, and I think you can see the ones that can still come through that and still play well and cope
sure,
with playing with the senior players in training. You know, because that's the first
yeah,
thing before you got to train with. You got to play with them. You have to. They have to. You have to gain their respect. They won't give it you.
nah.
So you have to do something in training that gains their respect, and that's the only thing you can do is train well. As I say, and I always thought he did.
Mm. Yeah. I think it was JMO as well. I think I interviewed the other day. That's why it's top of mind. He just said he was a mouthy old young sod. That's what he called him, a mouthy young sod. So he'd already have a mouth on him.
Because when I was there, I say I only had 1 year, and he wasn't mouthy. He wasn't mouthy. Maybe he had a little bit of respect for me being an old age or something.
Yeah, probably it was. Yeah, respect. RESPECT. Right. Okay. Anton's in, and I think Anton admits himself, and we've had him on the channel, and he was living in the shadow of his brother. You know,
Yeah.
so it was always tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always been stuck with that. And I didn't. He came up. He told me I didn't want to talk about it, so you know it was good. Right, I put Anton in. Who's Anton going to partner in the centre?
Well, I think Ian Pearce was always a solid player for us. You know, 6'3", 6'4", great lad as well. Like great for the dressing room, great banter, nicest guy in the world, and could do everything really. He was very good in the air. He could play, deceptively quick, and done brilliant for us. You know, done fantastically well for us. So I think he would be my ideal partner with
Anton. Definitely. No, and it's always useful when you've got a centre back who I think he played up front for a few games for us the season we went down as well. Yeah. So that's always good. Always good for the fantasy football, isn't it? Because you get points.
I do use the same self. He said, Rob, I can play badly anywhere.
But you put him down as a defender in your fantasy football league team and he plays up front.
Yeah.
Always useful. Always thinking. Always thinking. Right, as your back four, goalkeeper. Let's go into midfield. Let's go left wing. Who should we have on the left then, Rob?
Well, left wing's my problem thing really. I played with Trevor Sinclair, but he was only pre-season, so I'm not including Trevor. He was. So I'm going to play. I've got 3 central midfielders, well 4 probably. I played on the wing, so I'm not. We didn't have really wingers there. That's the issue I had. So
no,
I've got 4 midfielders, and one of them was a good friend of mine, Steve Lomas, who I used to hate playing against when I was at Newcastle. He was a horrible little Irishman, ginger Irishman. I used to hate it. He used to get kick you and talk to you and abuse you. And I thought I'm not going to like him when I get to this club. And we got on like a house on fire.
Brilliant.
we still play golf together now. But he was people underestimated how good he was. He was strong, loved to tackle. Technically, he was good. He could pass it as well. And I think when I got there, he had some major injuries. But still, his determination to get back and play was unbelievable, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, he was one of those. We have quite a few of them, don't we? Sort of these unsung heroes, and I think Lomo definitely was. Lomo, definitely. One day we'll get him on because we had Razor on a few months ago, and Razor sort of instigated that Steve Lomas got him arrested, but so we'll get Lomo. So we'll get Lomo
could start a fight in a phone box. I'm telling you.
Yeah. He did get him. Yes, a 2-mile radius ban from Romford Town Centre. So much so that he couldn't get to Chadwell because that's 2 months. That's 2 miles in. So Harry had to go and get him off the ban. So yeah, we'll get Lomo on. And he can put the record straight, and I'm sure it won't.
Will.
Right, we'll put Steve in. Who's your next midfielder then of your 4 then, Rob?
Well. Next is Michael Carrick. One of the best midfielders he played with, really.
Sure.
He had a few injuries. He was only a youngster, but he had a few injuries. I always remember a story. I was playing. We played Derby away, and I remember going away with the team, and Trevor was in charge at the time, and I was having breakfast. I used to get up early, having breakfast with Trevor, and I remember Trevor saying, "Oh, what about Michael?" I said, "Oh, listen, if he's fit, you got to play him." I said, "He's as good as we've got." He said, "Yeah." So I think he's going to be fit. So he said, "I agree with you. I think we're going to put him in." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I would 100%." He said, "Well, I'm glad you think that." He said, "'Cause he's taken your place." So
I was just going to go. You mid sausage.
He was clever. I always say when I see Trevor, he's very clever. Trevor, he was a. I took my way out of the team, but he was a. I meant what I said. If it meant me losing my place to him, he was. I was a lot older, and he was a youngster that could do everything. I think he proved that when he went to Manchester United. At the time, I knew West Ham wanted to sell him. I recommended him to Newcastle under Bobby Robson, but unfortunately didn't take him. They went to Spurs, went on to Man United, and I think he's proved what a great player he is. He can do everything, really. Should have scored more goals with the ability he had.
Definitely. And one of those players who is like the last piece of a puzzle you didn't realise you needed until you got the whole puzzle there. And when he's not there, say, like, obviously we never replaced him, well, for many years. Tottenham never replaced him. And Man United never replaced him. But he was just there. Do you know what I mean? Just there.
But he's slightly different. He used to sit in midfield, but he's slightly different to, like, let's just say, Declan, who gets stuck in and tackle. Michael was very, very good at reading the game, breaking things up. But he could also... He had great stamina. He could get up and down. He was a big lad. Never liked to tackle, but never had to tackle. He never had to tackle. But you wouldn't say he ever shied out of tackles. That's how good he was. He was, as I say, he went on to be a great player.
Yeah, definitely. And stay for the season. Stay for that whole season. Gave us the season, and we didn't go up, and then he left in the summer, which was
he did it the right way.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so you've got Lomas, you've got Carrick. Third of your four midfielders then, Rob?
Coley. Joe Cole.
Yeah.
Again, another youngster. When Glenn asked me to go, I was looking forward to playing with him. I was at the time, I was sitting in midfield, so I thought, well, I can let him get on with it. And but Joe was so I remember playing the pre-season game, and we went to Sweden, I think it was. He so wants to get on the ball. He's so sort of like wanted to get the ball all the time. He was coming back past me to get off me. I said, Joe, I'll do that. I said, I'll give it you. I said, we want you doing he was doing tricks on our area. We want you doing tricks at the top end of it. That's where you'll cause some damage. But his ability, technically ability, and his tricks and stuff was as good as I'd seen. I played with some great players, Ginola, Asprilla, and he had some unbelievable ability. Again, somebody who I think, although he done really, really well, I thought it was going to be a world beater. I agree. I genuinely did. If he'd have added, I don't know if he went to the wrong clubs at the wrong time, but if he'd have played him, certainly if you would play him now, if he played now and you played him in the 10, he would be unbelievable, and certainly with players not being able to kick him now, he'd have been outstanding. So another one probably. Although went on to play for England, did everything he probably wanted to do, I still think he could have been a world beater.
I agree. I think I totally agree with that statement in terms of going to the wrong club at the wrong time. Stifled him a little bit, that creativity, ended up being sort of conformed.
When he left West Ham, he went to Chelsea. Didn't really play at Chelsea at the start.
No.
I think if he'd played another year at West Ham and then gone on to play at another, like one of those clubs, but start and play. I think it was a stop-start sort of like thing. And Liverpool, again, he never really played consistently, but again, great lad, great player.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, right. So we got Lomi, we got Carrick, we got Cole, we got one more of that midfield four you mentioned.
Again, it's one of these players that I got to West Ham. I didn't like him. He was a Mackham anyway. Big Sunderland guy. I'd had loads of run-ins with him anyway, mouthy as anything, with Don Hutchinson.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And honestly, I didn't. until I got there, I didn't think he was as technically as good as he was, because he was technically very, very good. But we had a good laugh. He was a little bit old, same sort of was coming. Yeah, he had a few injuries, but he was a little bit older as well. And I always remember we used to come in pre-season, and we used to look around and say, oh, God, what are we doing today? Trying to find out what we're doing, like what running we're doing, because I used to hate the running. He used to hate the running. And as soon as we found out, we just got each other happy. Yeah. So every time we see each other now, we call each other happy. But he could, again, we talk about midfielders who got forward and scored goals.
Yeah,
he was one of those midfielder players that, as I say, it's a dying breed of somebody
definitely
not wanting to get on the ball all the time, but actually wanting to get in the box and then score goals from midfield. And he could do that. I put him on the right because he could do that all day long from the right. He could do it from the left. He could do it from the middle. And he played up front a few times as well. So again, very versatile. And we used to love playing head tennis as well. Don Appleton himself and Wayne Quinn used to love the old head tennis at West Ham. We all enjoyed that. I'm not going to tell you the best.
You create. What was that? Who was the best? Who was the best?
Listen, I don't want to. Kevin Orlock was involved as well, so we was all. We used to have a competition going on throughout the season. You had to play somebody, and if they couldn't make it, then they were out. It's like an FA Cup sort of thing. So I think it was actually Don who knew I was injured, and then said, "Right, let's go and play tennis."
That's your chance to shine.
It was honestly, we had a great team spirit there. We had a really good team. The lads, I got on. I was 38. Some of these lads were Sean Byrne and Richie Garcia coming through, and Chris Cohen. So all very young, but we all had a great team spirit.
It seemed a really good balance of the experience and the young guys coming in.
Yeah, we did, and we all got on. There was no. I don't remember any bickering in the squad. Like the normal stuff that you get, but nothing. Not disliking each other. And I got in, and I genuinely didn't dislike any of the lads at all.
Yeah. No, definitely. It does sound like that as well. Definitely when you talk to not just yourselves, but lots of other players around that time. Right. Okay. So there's your 4-4-4. So we've got the two. Who's your first striker then, Rob?
Freddie Canuti.
Nice.
Yeah. We managed to keep over him for a little while in my first when I first got there, and I just saw him training. I saw him playing. I get that Bournemouth game. It was exceptional. It was. He was huge. He was quick, could score goals. And the first time I'd really seen him, I'd seen him on the telly, obviously, before I got there. But I didn't realise how good he was, how tall he was. It's a shame we couldn't keep hold of him really, because he would have absolutely murdered that division.
Definitely. Again, I think in most similar respects, I think similar to what you were saying about but Joe and Anton. He did well at Tottenham, but obviously did better in Seville. But he never did that. I mean, I remember when he played his first game, it was that Wimbledon game where Di Canio did the. Yeah. He was like, I was like so excited. He was my Thierry Henry. He was exactly what we needed, but he just didn't get to the next level.
I think Freddie was one of these players. I've seen quite a few of it. It depends on what side of the bed they get out of.
Sure. Yeah.
He'll either be, and I had him. So we had him at Newcastle with Tino, and
of course, yeah.
If he gets out of bed the right, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no do this and do this, and it's just whichever side of the bed he got out of. If he fancied playing, Tino, he'd be unstoppable.
Yeah.
If he didn't fancy playing, he'd be awful. So Freddie was like that. If he wanted to play, he was unstoppable. But if something was gone wrong, you didn't see much of him. And that's a shame really, because again he had all the attributes to be a top player.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Okay, that's Freddie, and we got one more spots. Rob, who are we going to have?
It won't be any surprise that it's Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah,
I know he put in a transfer request that year. But we managed to keep him for that season, and I again only youngster at the time, but what a goal scorer!
Yeah.
Never looked to pass it, but as long as you knew that was fine. Our job was to get him the ball in the box, and 9 times out of 10 he's still scoring now for Rangers. He was like that as a kid. He's brilliant. One of the best goal scorers as a finisher I've seen.
People say that
every time he got it, he hit the target. He was very, very good.
And people do say that. People that we've interviewed who have played with him said he's the most natural striker they've seen they ever played with. And, one or two people, but everyone says it. And as you said, he's still banging them in for Rangers. Obviously, they recently won the SPL, and good luck to him.
It's a natural thing, I think. Goal scoring's, or natural goal scorers I've met, it just seems to be that the ball comes to him. I used to train with Alan Shearer, and we used to do these, crossing and shooting things, and one will go near post, one will go far post. So you ping the ball out wide, and wherever I went, the ball never went. Wherever Alan went, so if I went near, it went far. If I went far, it went near. And Jermaine was like that. Anywhere in the box, there could be 4 people around Jermaine, and the ball will go to him. And it's just a knack that centre forwards or natural goal scorers have got. The ball just seems to find them.
Yeah. Exactly. No, it's just, I just find it fascinating, with people like that, and it's all that's all Jermaine Defoe / Tony Cottee type role now. It just seems to be more and more lost in the game now. It's all about people playing front threes. I mean, Michail Antonio is not a Jermaine Defoe or a Tony Cottee. He's not a striker. He's a forward, and it's a knack. It's a knack of it's a game, part of the game which I think you like to. I just don't know. It's just
I think you're right. We've gone so defensively now. No one seems to play 2 up front these days. I mean, TC was. I grew up with TC.
Of course.
He used to annihilate my teams as a kid when I was growing. He played for Romford Royals. I played for Pegasus, and they used to beat us 10. Yeah. Scored 9 every time, which I always reminded him of. But he was a total natural goal scorer. And I missed the big guy and the little guy, and I missed that, and they play this 1 up or 2 wide, and false 9 they call it. I grew up in here. Let's get the ball to the strikers, get the ball, whether it's from the wing or from the midfield, and let's get some goals. We might let some in. I'm probably different because I played in the Newcastle team where we scored a lot and we let a lot in.
Yeah.
But for me, that's the way I like seeing football. I think if you ask most fans, I mean, Keegan always used to say to us, go out and entertain the crowd, because it's an entertainment at the end of the day. And
exactly.
And I don't think fans get entertained a lot these days.
No.
But I think they grab onto like the smallest of thing nowadays. But it's entertain people. They want to see entertaining football. They want to see goals. They don't mind letting a couple of goals in if you score 3. That's
it's true. It is so true. I'm exactly the same, Rob. I just think sometimes I think it's become a bit sterile. I think professional football now, to be honest, I think you don't get. I'm looking through this team. Look, I'm looking for that team, and they're all character. Well, apart from maybe we'll say not Canute, but they're characters, aren't they? They're all personalities and stuff like that. Yeah. And I think you lose that. I think that's why someone like Declan Rice sort of stands out with his interviews and stuff like that, because he's seems very genuine when he interviews and stuff, and has a bit of a laugh, and we just want to be entertained. But
I think the characters in the game are certainly dying out. They're all over. They're just dying out. I mean, you can't seem to have a laugh or say anything without offending anybody. These days.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'd hate to be a senior player in the dressing room now, because if I'm shouting at someone, you'd get done for abuse, I think. And
we
used to sit through as youngsters, and listen, it's you have to be able to. Football's it's a tough game, and it's I think with a tackling thing, and I watch now because of my lads playing in Division 1 and that.
Sure,
it's more of a game down there. It's more like the old. They're allowed tackles, tackles that you in the Premier League will probably get you a red card. It gets you a telling off, or it used to be. And I enjoy watching that much more. That they get the ball. Sometimes teams get the ball forward quick. Some teams like to play, but there's a mixture. I think the Premier League, it's more like chess. It's putting people in holes to stop other people playing, and instead of actually just getting on, and everyone's got different formations, which I think, I don't know if all these coaches that have come through the FA, I played. Have a system that you're best at, and see if they can stop you. You know, I'm more of that sort of ilk rather than they play this 3-5-2. Let's catch them up.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be better than you, Eric, because they do all the time. I don't.
That's why I like Leeds, because I mean, I know we beat them, but they have a go. Do you know what I mean? They were unlucky. Yes, I mean they should have beaten us, to be honest. We should get a draw at least. You know, a couple of goals.
Leeds are good to watch. I like watching.
Yeah,
Leeds. Just say they're mid-table. They lose some games, but they win some games. But they're exciting. They're exciting to watch. You know, and
exactly.
There ain't many teams that are like that these days.
No. It's very true. It's very true. Rob, man, I told you we'd be done before the hour was in, and we've done it. So thank you so much. I'm a man of my word. Thank you so much. Good. And thank you to everyone for watching as well. And for me and Rob, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Have you had your jab yet, Rob? Had your jab yet?
Not yet, mate. No. I think I'm too young at 55.
Or not fat enough. I've had mine. Down All Church Library. Anyway, for myself and for Rob, take care. Cover your eyes, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. There we go, Rob. Take care, everyone. Much love. Bye-bye.
Take care.